I have read over 120 books this year. Really, my goal was 100 and I blew past it. So I'm real excited about that. But these are going to be my top 10 romance reads. And when I say romance, it's going to include dark romance and contemporary romance. I really kind of branched out this year because contemporary romance for sure was never my genre. I never would read them. I didn't even go to that section. But y'all convinced me to do it and they made my top 10 list. So here we go. Starting off with Heartless, yes, of course, Cade was going to make this list. I did not know that I was going to be a cowboy romance kind of girl. Did not know, but I picked this up, and yes, giddy up, I will go to wherever Cade is. Yes, I will. He's convinced me and signed me up for that. A Love Letter to Whiskey, yes, absolutely. I freaking love this book. It is very The Notebook-esque with it wasn't over, it still isn't over. Those kind of vibes, just minus the elderly people. But other than that, it gives those vibes and people. I mean, can you see? I love this and you definitely need to put it on your TBR list. Next, We Listen and We Don't Judge, okay? Butcher and Blackbird. Yeah, I loved it, okay? I have a dark sense of humor. It's real morbid. The things that other people may find gross, I find hilarious. And yeah, I love this book. I thought it was unique. I had never read anything like it before. And I'm all about these two serial unalivers finding love. Yes, I am. I'm also all about my little special edition book, but I digress. Next is a dark romance, and that is God of Ruin, which Landon freaking King, yes. Yes, I'm all about him, and he's my favorite. I didn't think anybody could beat Killian because I do love him, but yes, I freaking love Landon King, and I love Mia. I really like this story, and it's one of my favorites of the year. Now, I did say my top 10, so I'm not lying. God of Malice is also in here too, of course. I love Killian. I adore him, and he is also going on my top 10 romance books. Those are my two favorites so far of the Legacy of God series. I have to read the last two. I have not read those yet, but for now, those are my favorite two. Next is Love in Other Words. This was my first contemporary romance that I read this year, and this was me branching out because I said I don't gravitate to that section, and I have no regrets. This book had me crying, sobbing, snotting. Yeah, it affected me in a way that I can't even describe, and I still love it to this day. I'm so glad that I branched out and read it. Neb by Christy Ayers is also making the list. I adore this book. She's an indie author, so please support her with this book. It's very forbidden, taboo romance. It is a girl and her adopted cousin, so they are not blood related, but really they may as well be in this book because the families are so close and they're raised very close together like family. But I adore the golden retriever vibes of the guy in here and the girl. There's just a section where you feel like her sadness and her depression, and it just takes your soul and like crushes it. And I love books that do that. So I will not forget this book, and it's definitely making my top 10. Next is a dark romance, and it is Kill Switch of the Devil's Night series. I truly love the entire series. It's my favorite dark romance series of the year. But if I have to choose one book to make my top 10, it is Kill Switch with Damon Torrance. I love this character. He is one of my top book boyfriends. Penelope Douglas's writing, I love the way that she goes into depth with her characters, and I adore this entire book. So if you have not become a Damon fan or a Devil's Night fan yet, you definitely should. I adore it. And wouldn't you know, another dark romance is making the list, and it's Darling Venom. I can't even put into words what this book means to me. It is such a beautiful story. It does deal with heavy topics. So unaliving oneself, harming oneself, depression, anxiety, all those things. It was just really a beautiful, emotional roller coaster, and I don't know, I should have just had a tissue box with me the entire book. But truly, again, with all these books, check the triggers before you read them. But I love the whole thing. You know what, I lied. This is going to be a top 11 because as I was making this video, this other book popped in my head and I already knew what my number one was going to be. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I didn't have this. But The Fabric of Our Souls. I'm adding this in here because it also took a chunk of my soul. This is also heavy topics. So depression, anxiety, the characters meet in a mental health facility, and truly I cannot have a top 10 and not include this book because the quotes in here will live in my soul from now until eternity. So if you have not read it, it's a very beautiful book. And it does have some like the thriller aspect in it too, which I love when they include that in dark romances. So really the whole thing, I'll never forget it. Ba-dum-bum-bum, my top contemporary romance of the year. Psh, I know y'all already know what I'm going to say it is. If my sweater didn't give it away, Magnolia Parks. Yeah, the entire series. Jessa Hastings owns my entire heart. Honestly, the quotes that are in these books I will never friggin' get over. They own everything about me. It's my whole personality. Literally anything you see. I have sweaters, my phone cases, ribbons, I don't know, anything that reminds me of Magnolia Parks is gonna be what I have with me at all times. I just can't put into words what these books mean to me. They are like a best friend in a book. If you've had a relationship like this, I just can't say how much the quotes make you feel less alone. And I just love that books can do that they can become best friends and really help us through things. And yeah, I just don't know how to put it into words, my love for these books. There's a reason why they're hyped. Truly, honestly, I think you probably had to have experienced a love like this to maybe appreciate it a little bit, because I know there's some people that start reading it and it didn't resonate with them. But for those of us that it does resonate, God tier romance books. Yes. These also make me want to hug it and love it. And yeah, so these are my top 11 of the year of contemporary romance / dark romance.